Hi and welcome to the www.freebets.com Championship Playoff Betting Preview. I'm joined as ever by Matt Le Tissier, who's going to mark your card on what is one of the most expensive, one of the richest games in world football because of the prize at stake, a place in the Premier League. It's Watford versus Crystal Palace. Watford 8-11 to be promoted, Crystal Palace 6-5. So the bookies make it the Hornets who are likely to have the sting in the tail. Is that how you see it, Matt?
I think so. Certainly in terms of where they finished in the league, you'd make Watford favourites. Play some very good football. Watched them a couple of times this season live, and we're quite impressed with them. They've also got Matt Le Tissier back in form because he went quite a few games without scoring before he managed to pop up with a couple in the playoffs there. So I think they've got probably more dangerous players in their side. I know obviously Palace are going to be missing Murray, who's been a big goal scorer for them this season. I think that might be the difference. Zaha's obviously in decent form after his little brace at Brighton. So Palace will be looking to him, but I think Watford will have more players, more match winners in their side.
Interesting, Zaha, of course, he didn't score for months on end, and then, as you say, got that brace down at the Amex, off to Man United next season. Decent player. Is he the sort of player that could swing a game on his own?
Well, he can do. He has that ability. It'll be interesting to see how he copes with being at such a massive football club. And I'm not sure if he won't be a little bit disappointed as well that the manager who signed him isn't going to be managing him next season, because a lot of players will sign for Manchester United because they want to play under Sir Alex Ferguson, and he may be a little bit disappointed that David Moyes is going to be there next season and not Sir Alex.
Let's just have a little look at the match odds then. Watford 7-5 in 90 minutes, the draw 9-4, and Palace 11-5. Now, we talked earlier on a previous betting preview about the Champions League final and the pressure with such a big game, and I guess you could say the same for the Championship playoff. Is it going to be a cagey affair? Do you think there'll be goals? Do you think it might go to 90 minutes and then beyond? Or
I think this one might be decided in 90 minutes. I think Zola's got his team wanting to go forward at every opportunity. I think they'll take the game to Palace. Palace may well try and sit back as they did against Brighton and try and hit on the counter-attack. But I expect goals in this game. I think both teams will score in this, but I think Watford may just come out on top.
Okay, and goals you say, so what about a correct score? What do you think?
I'd go for a 2-1 Watford win. Is the score for me. I think, as I said, both sides have got players in their side who can stick the ball in the back of the net, and I think both teams to score will be a decent bet. But I just fancy Watford to nick it.
Yeah, okay, Watford to nick it. If you don't fancy the match odds, of course, you can get better value doing the half-time, full-time, the two results, the double result on that. I noticed that the draw, Watford, is 5-1, which looks a decent price to me. Any thoughts on that particular market?
Yeah, draw Watford is reasonable. I mean, if I was going to have a bet on that, I think I'd probably go Watford. I think they'll come out the traps quick, and I think if they get the early goal as I expect, I think that'll be the key for them to go on and win the match.
Okay, so you think Watford, but what in terms of a first goal scorer? Do you think it'll be obviously a Watford goal? Who will that be?
I think for me, obviously Troy Deeney's been in decent form, but I think Vydra, I watched him early on in the season. I was really impressed with him. He went through that little dicky spell, but he hopefully those goals in the semi-final will do him the world of good, and I'd take him to score the first goal.
And looking ahead to next season, of course, one of these teams will be in the Premier League with the other two promoted sides from the Championship. Seems to get harder and harder every year for the teams to stay up, but of course your team Saints did it very successfully next season. Is that the sort of thing that they should be looking at as an example? Do you think this team will stay up?
And certainly I think the example they probably need to look at is West Ham, who came up through the playoffs and yet have finished comfortably in mid-table. They'll be looking at that and thinking that's possible. You mentioned about the money that's involved in this game, not just the £60 million prize money for finishing bottom of the Premier League. You've also got the parachute payments that go along with that, even if they do get relegated first time out, and that's going to take that back over to £100 million. So this is a massive football match.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of these teams, of course, is going to be in the land of milk and honey next year, the Premier League, but we'll have to see who comes out on top in the match. Matt reckons it's going to be Watford. He reckons it's going to be a close run thing, but 2-1 the predicted scoreline. Hope you enjoy the game. If you're a Watford fan or a Crystal Palace fan, hope it goes well for you. And don't forget, of course, if you're having a bet on the game, www.freebets.com is the best place for all the bookie offers and all the best odds. Best of luck.